Well, welcome back to Midlife Explorer. Hopefully the audio is working okay. I've got a new setup in the helmet. Anyway, we're out on the CB500X today. Something different for a Friday afternoon as we get ready for the Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada and Ontario. And this is kind of a tradition for me. I always get out on my bike Thanksgiving weekend. The colors are always really good, so definitely one of my favorite times to go for a ride. So we're heading out from Nith where I live, and we're going to head mainly on dirt roads today. Work our way down towards Paris, but I'm not going to go into Paris. There's too much construction in Paris. But we will, from there, work our way back up to Ayr and then back into Nith. So not a long ride today, but should be a beautiful ride because we're going to cross the Nith River 3 or 4 times, and I'm kind of checking to see whether there's any water left in that river. Hopefully we'll get out for a paddle, one last paddle this year. But anyway, good to get out on a Friday afternoon, and excited to get out on my bike. I haven't ridden it for a while. So the ride I'm doing today is actually something I do on my mountain bike all the time. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine and I went and did most of this ride a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to extend the ride a little bit further because I'm on my bike rather than my bicycle, but normally we do about a 60-kilometer loop. Today I'm going to do about 80 to 100, but again, quick ride. Got to go out later on this evening and pick up my daughter, so take advantage of a couple of hours on a Friday afternoon. I don't get to ride this bike enough. I got lots of other things I can do when I've got a little bit of time off, and unfortunately this one's probably third on my list. The weather's good, we'll go kayaking first and mountain biking second, so riding this bike I do on my own, unfortunately. So this is the Nith River. This is not the section that we would normally get in and out of. This is the first canning. I'm going to ride down to the second one to see how the river's doing right now, but it looks like it's pretty shallow. Haven't had rain for weeks. Gonna get some tomorrow though. When we paddle down to Paris, this is the spot that we start at. Again, there's not enough water in the river to paddle down the Nith River from Canning to Paris, though. You're just going to end up walking a lot. So this is Silver Bridge. We actually paddle from here all the time. We'll paddle down from Ayr to Silver Bridge here, and then from Silver Bridge down to Canning. This is the little village of Wolverton, and again we're crossing the Nith River. When we paddle down from Ayr, we paddle down through Wolverton here on the Nith, and then we paddle down to Silver Bridge. Lots of water here though. back in Innerkip. So a quick little tour out to Ayr and back. Basically checking out all the different bridges and the water levels on the Nith River. That was my little goal today, to see if there's any water in the river, and there's not, unfortunately. So it's probably good that we're not paddled on Monday. I'm gonna go for a ride instead. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video and you came for the ride with me, thanks for hanging out. We will probably be out for our last paddle next Friday. If not, we'll be mountain biking for the next 3 or 4 weeks at least anyway, until the snow starts to fly. And then hopefully we can get our skis up. Anyway, thanks for watching.